All right, guys, we're going to get started. My name is Emily. I'm one of the admissions counselors here at Niagara University. I am here being your MC and your hostess with the mostest. I am joined by a ton of our students in the STEM programs throughout the university, but I'm going to have Erin introduce herself as well because she is one of the counselors as well. Erin?
Hi, thanks, Emily. So my name's Erin. Moving forward, I'll be emceeing all these events with our fun students, with Jaden, Bree, Bianca, and all of them. I currently work with students in the Southern Tier and then a few local schools such as Barker, Newfane, and Wilson. But I can be your resource for any questions or if you want to connect with any students here on the call today. And then I'll let our students introduce themselves. Andrew, would you like to take it away?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Andrew. I am a sophomore chemistry major. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. Right now in quarantine, waiting to come back to school. Super excited. And one of the biggest things I've gotten into is service down at the hospital. And I'm also looking forward to getting involved in some research projects in our STEM programs. And that's all I got.
Kelsey, you want to go ahead?
Hello, everyone. My name is Kelsey, and I'm a senior math education major. So I cross between STEM and the College of Education. And like Andrew, I am involved volunteering at Mount St. Mary's, pre-COVID, of course. And then on campus, I am also a community advisor in O'Shea Hall, which is one of 2 freshman buildings.
Miss Jaden, you're up.
Hi, everybody. My name's Jaden. I'm a chemistry major and I'm a sophomore this year. One big thing that I'm really into is research in our STEM program. It's just great opportunities and everything. I'm from Tonawanda, New York, so about half an hour away from campus. And I'm excited to hang out with all of you and answer some questions and everything.
Bree, you're next on my screen.
Hi, I'm Bree. I'm a senior chemistry major. I'm from Syracuse, New York, and some of the things I do, much like Kelsey, I'm a CA, one of our residence advisors here, but I'm in the other freshman building, Seton Hall. I play club field hockey, and one of the things I've been fortunate enough to have at Niagara University was actually a forensics internship. So that's really cool. So if you're ever interested in getting, that field experience hands-on, Niagara might be for you.
We'll be coming back to that forensics because it's some of my favorite. Bianca, you are next on my screen, my dear.
Hi, I'm Bianca. I am a sophomore bio major on a pre-med track with a minor in criminal justice. And I am from Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is about the same size as Rochester, New York. So pretty big, but it's in Michigan, so you guys have probably never heard of it.
Thanks, Bianca. Hope, you're next on my screen, my dear.
Hi, I'm Hope. I'm a junior psychology major and I have minors in gerontology, criminology, and women's studies. I'm also a research assistant for Dr. Riddell, which is one of our psychology professors in our department. I live in Pennsylvania, but if you can't tell, I'm British. But yeah, I play rugby too, so go rugby team. And yeah, I think that's all I have.
Miss Margaret, you're up.
Hey. Hi, everybody. I'm Margaret. I'm a sophomore computer information science major. At school, I'm involved with research with Dr. Tong, who's one of the assistants of the computer program, and I'm also involved in the ROTC. And that's all for me.
And last but not least on my screen, Alex, you're up.
Yes, so my name's Alex. I'm a senior at Niagara. I'm a computer science major. I have also done research with Dr. Tong and the Internet of Things. So any questions about what research is like with him, I would be happy to answer. I played club golf. In terms of experience, I was supposed to do an internship with M&T over the summer, last summer, but unfortunately that got canceled with COVID. But we're rescheduled for this summer, and hopefully that'll be going forward after graduation, and I will be going to grad school for cybersecurity. So that's awesome.
Thanks, Alex. So now that you've met everybody, this is literally a time for you guys to ask any questions that you're wondering. Feel free to use the chat box. If you want to put in what major that you're thinking about, if you want to know more specifically about someone's research opportunities, even Alex going into the 4+1 with CIS or anything like that, feel free to reach out. If not, I will start posing questions, which I'm going to start with my favorite, which is Bree. Can you tell us about your forensics internship? Because it's probably one of my favorites.
Yes, however, I did see that I think Elena, if I'm saying that right, had her hand raised if she has a question.
Oh, sure. I'm all for it.
It was more of like just like a general question, like if the people that have majors in computer science, if they could talk more about that program.
No.
Is there anything specific you want to know about the program?
I guess like maybe like before COVID started, like what would like the average class look like? Like would it be like more hands-on or would it be mainly self-taught? Like what would the structure of like a pre-COVID class look like?
Alex, you want to take that?
Yeah, so I was obviously before COVID, everything was in person. But honestly, that all depends on the class. So I took, when I was a freshman, my first class I ever took in computers was computer hardware. That is as most hands-on as you get. I don't know if you're how familiar you are with computers, but we completely tore down and rebuilt computers, laptops. We even learned how to, screens on phones that are shattered. That class is easily the most hands-on. We even built virtual environments in a class called networking, which was a ton of fun. Those two are really the hands-on classes that you will see. Nothing is really self-taught as far as I have experienced. There's information security was maybe a little more of the self-taught ones, but all of the CIS professors at NU are as approachable as it can get, and any questions, they're phenomenal in terms of responding. Office hours are great, and if you're worried about learning on your own and not having the help, don't worry about that. I came out of high school, I never built a computer, I never really did anything like that. I knew how to use one, that was about it. And now I feel very confident with what I can do and everything like that. So if you're in that position, worried about self-learning, don't do that at all, especially at NU. My experience, all it is hands-on, which is really awesome and why I love NU.
I'm going to jump on what Alex said there real quick. It's the same thing. Like, I came from high school not knowing much of anything at all about my major, just that I wanted to get into it. And I found that through Niagara, with all the professors, they are extremely open and willing to teach you. Like, I struggled with computer hardware that he mentioned. That's the first freshman class you'll take. And Dr. Wagner, who's the professor for that, she gladly stayed after class with me to work on the stuff I didn't understand. So everybody is very approachable, and I think you'd find it easy to jump into stuff you don't know.
Are the class sizes small? Like, is that how you're able to easily approach professors? Or okay.
Yeah, they're pretty
with so many people, how can professors be so open?
Right. No, Niagara's class sizes are pretty small usually, so it's very, very nice. You get to know people quickly.
Backing off of what was just said there about small class sizes, yeah, I believe I had 12 people in my hardware class. I don't know if there's not many CIS majors or class sizes are just small, but I became near best friends with all the students in my classes, because you're going to have a lot of the same students in your hardware class, networking class. You're going to get to know a ton of computer science majors, and professors, they take attendance, they're there with you to help you. And class sizes are very small, which is awesome because you really can easily get one-to-one help, especially with Dr. Wagner. Dr. Wagner's awesome. I know her daughter's in here, but Dr. Wagner's awesome, and she will do just about anything for you.
He's pretty great, yeah. I mean, No, I'd like to kind of go off what Alex and Margaret said. For all majors, really, like our small class sizes really make a difference. Your professors really do know who you are and know what you want to do. A lot of times you know who your advisor is right away, and they actually talk to different professors. Your professors talk to you about everything, and they try to keep up with you too. They want to know, even if you took their class your freshman year, maybe you're a junior and they're still like, hey, like, how are you doing? Like, what's going on? Anything changed? That kind of thing. So that's another great thing too, is that we all are kind of a community, even though we are different in many different ways.
Thank you.
Great question. We're going to throw now a similar question to one of our biology students. I would probably, I want to be right on this. I'm probably going to group in biology, chemistry, and biochemistry. Similarly on programs and how that their programs laid out and buildings that you guys are in and stuff like that too. So anybody want to take on that? Anyone? Andrew, we'll start with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. As I said before, I'm a chemistry major. But a lot of our like chemistry, biology, biochemistry, your first 2 years are going to be really, really similar. Like I know Bianca's a bio major, but I've had like a lot of like, I think all of my core like STEM classes, she's been in them, and a lot of the labs. Now, like as we're moving out of that, she's getting a little bit more into biology. I'm getting a little more into chemistry specific classes. But overall, like, again, it's with the small class sizes. That's one of the great things about NU. I think the biggest class you're going to get into is going to be your Gen Bio and your Gen Chem classes. We had, I think, a maximum, I think they only let 40 people into those classes, and then your lab is 12 people or like 18 people max. So it gets really like hands-on. Then you get into your specific stuff as you keep going on. So like I had an analytical chemistry class, and I think there was like 8 of us. Jaden was there. And in my lab, it was literally just me and my roommate in our lab section. And that was really great because I'm looking to go into forensic science, and with forensic science, a lot of your details stuff and all that comes down to like the analytical chemistry portion, where you're trying to like make your experiments with the most precision and without a lot of error, especially when you have limited samples. And so like with that, like there was a lot of just like, while yeah, we were learning these things in lab and like getting this hands-on experience, I was able to like just sit there and ask Dr. Gosher, I'm like, hey, so like in a professional environment, what would make this better than that? Or what would make using a micropipette like more specific, like, or accurate than versus just a volumetric one? So again, it's just the small class sizes and the relationships you get to build with your professors, because those classes are so small. And you have a lot, I mean, as for course loads, you have a lot of your science classes. It gets more specific as you go. You'll have your general classes, and then you have to take some upper level lab courses. And I believe Jaden or someone else could like touch on this a little bit more, but your research labs that you do with your professors can count as some of your upper lab credits.
A lot of times, I know for chemistry, research is required for students to do. So you at least have to do a 1 semester worth of research, but it's actually open for all STEM majors, which is really cool. You can do research with any professor, and they love talking about it. I can literally talk for hours with Dr. McCord and Dr. Milnecki, who are my research professors that I work with, and they could talk about their research for hours. They love what they do. So it makes it even better for students to love it too, because they want us to learn hands-on too. And it's fun because I know Bree is in with Dr. Sanchez too, and they use the NMR a lot, but having those really complex instruments, the students are using them, which is awesome. Like a lot of times professors at other schools are the only ones that are using those instruments, and the students are just watching. But here they teach you step by step how to use it yourself. And then they're like, okay, go ahead, like try it yourself. And you really get that step-by-step progress, and you get to use these instruments that you would use later in life too, which is really cool. So research is a really big thing. Bree can tell you a lot more than I can. I'm fairly new in research right now, being a sophomore, but it's so great, and it's just a great opportunity as well. So if Bree, if you want to talk about that, you can. Sorry.
Yeah, no, okay. So research is a great opportunity. Like Jaden was saying, she's a sophomore and involved with research. I know people who have gotten involved as early as their second semester freshman year, or there's people like me who started later on. Like it's totally up to you and your preference and what you feel like you can handle at the time. But she's right. We get to use these really cool instruments. The NMR is over $500,000. Like it's a really expensive instrument that usually students aren't allowed to touch at a lot of schools, at least until like grad programs or that kind of thing. And it's the same thing for the bio department or any of the science departments. They have really high-end, high-tech equipment that you are able to use hands-on at the undergraduate level for your research, which is really cool. And another thing I actually learned, for those of you who are maybe interested or in the sciences and interested in maybe making a little extra money, it might depend on the lab, but I know my lab, we are able to, depending on the hours you work, like I worked over break, I got paid to do research over break, which was a really cool thing. So that's another way that you can maybe look to make some money. If you maybe don't want an off-campus job, that's maybe something you can look into to A, gain the experience, and B, get paid to do it. So maybe if an internship isn't exactly for you, but research maybe, like that's something to definitely look into. And then those of you who are interested in bio, the really cool thing that they set up Gen Bio is they rotate through professors, if that makes sense. It's kind of a little weird. So there's 2 semesters, the fall semester, spring semester, and each semester you will have 2 different professors for your Gen Bio. And which is really cool because it's a great way to get to know all the professors in the biology department. And as you get to know each one, you can learn about the research, what they do, and it gives you an opportunity to talk to them about the research if it's something you're interested in doing. So I thought that was really cool about our biology department, specifically how they set up that Gen Bio class. So throughout your 2 semesters of Gen Bio 1 and Gen Bio 2, you get to know not all, but majority of the professors in the bio department and get to know a little bit about the research. So that way, if you were interested maybe in starting research as early as your freshman year, like you did have the opportunity to do so because you knew some of these professors, you knew about the research and what they did, which is really cool. But yeah.
I know something that I found really interesting about sort of the program Niagara has is that with those students who are looking to do pre-med, such as we actually are one of the 4 or 5 schools that are partnered with UB, so that you can actually, get accepted to med school, get accepted at UB before you even take the MCAT, which is pretty much the medical school version of the SAT, and then before you even finish your senior year. So you apply as a sophomore, and then you either get accepted or you don't. But if you do, you would have to meet certain grade requirements, and you don't have to take the MCAT. So you go straight to UB's medical school right after you graduate here, which I think is a great program. It's definitely really good for anyone who's looking to get their foot in the door. If you're worried about, MCAT scores or having to pay for those or take them, it's an 8-hour test. It would be really good if you're able to kind of skip that step. So that's always a really good opportunity that we do have here.
Sorry, just to add on to that, another cool thing about our pre-med program is I know because of COVID, I don't believe they did it this past year, but I know in past years they've actually brought pre-health professionals basically to speak to students on Fridays. I believe it's once a month, and it's been like pre-vet, or not pre-vet, but like dental professionals, vet professionals, medical professionals. They've brought people in from like the graduate boards at like UB to talk about the application process, what it looks like to apply to med school, all that kind of stuff. So those are really cool things available, all free to anyone interested in pre-health fields to go to these. And it's a great way to like A, network and meet people, but B, learn about what the application process, so you don't feel as overwhelmed, looks like. They talk about their experiences, how they got into the field. So I think those are a cool thing to take advantage of if they come back post-COVID, because I thought that was a great thing that they did once a month, and they brought in a variety of professionals. It wasn't all med school, like doctor kind of, surgeon kind of professionals. There were vet professionals, dental professionals. So it was a really cool thing to see and take advantage of.
We also have a partnership with LECOM, Lake Erie College of Orthopedic Medicine. That's usually one that I talk about because I recruit in Ohio and Pennsylvania. They have campuses in 3 different locations, so Erie, Pittsburgh, and then Florida. So if you want, you can come and freeze with us for about 4 years and then head down to Florida to their Florida campus too. So that's also an option as well with our partnership schools too. Great questions, by the way. Keep them coming. I was looking at somebody asked about scholarships specific to STEM field and also very specific to women. I absolutely love this question. Anybody want to talk about SOS page, scholarship opportunities? Thanks, Kelsey.
Essentially, when you're accepted to Niagara University, you're going to get a welcome packet. And inside is going to be what we call our Purple Pass ID. So this is going to be your single sign-on to all of our different platforms. But included in one of those is what we call the Scholarship Opportunity Search. And essentially, this is like one of your scholarship platforms you get at high school or you find online, like Niche or something similar, but it's only for NU students. So there's hundreds of scholarships and they're going to be pre-sorted to the qualities that you put in your application. So you say, I'm from Niagara Wheatfield High School, I'm going into chemistry, and I'm the daughter of a teacher. So all of these things are in the Scholarship Opportunity Search, and it's going to filter out all sorts of scholarships that apply specifically to you. And then you can do single click applications. Some of them may require, another paragraph or two, but the majority of them, you just click apply for this scholarship. So you could apply for 50 scholarships if you qualify in a matter of 30 minutes. And those are, again, only open to your NU students. So there's everything from donors who only want students from the high school that you came from, or donors who only want students going into CIS. Donors who only want pre-med students who want to serve rural populations. So there's some that are very specific like that. And then there's others that are open to all science majors, all education majors. So it's really quick. And those are things on top of your financial aid package. So you'll get your financial aid package. It'll have everything from what you filled out in your FAFSA to merit-based scholarships, which are money you don't have to pay back based only on your grades. And we are test optional. So that's something that you can factor into this year's application cycle as well. And then this money is all extra on top that doesn't have to be paid back. So when you're coming down to that March and April deadline right before May, and you're thinking, I think I need a little bit more, or let's see what I can get. These are quick, easy ways to apply for just that extra bit of more money.
Another thing too with scholarships is that what I found really helpful, honestly, was just Googling, because there's so many scholarships out there for the tiniest things that you may qualify for and you don't even know. I know my parents sat me down and we Googled for 3 hours and we went through and found big corporations like M&T and Tops and Wegmans and just some all over the place that, oh, you're a woman, great, qualified, perfect. And then STEM and all of those. So honestly, being completely honest, it's going to suck. You're not going to want to sit down and look for all of these scholarships, but it works out in the end, honestly. So as long as you get it done, it will just work out so much better because it's free money. So why not? It just sucks. So that's kind of what I did. Other people have done it differently. It's just basically going out, seeing what's there, and grabbing it as soon as possible, that kind of thing.
I'm going to tag along to my students here as one of your admissions advisors. Please, if you have not done so, if you don't do anything the rest of this week, please fill out your FAFSA and send it to us. I beg you. Get on your parents, your guardians, whoever you're living with. If you file independent, that's fine as well. Please get your FAFSA to us. We already sent out, I want to say, already 400 financial aid packages. Priority deadline is February 15th, so right before Valentine's Day. We'd love to give you some money. So please send that in as soon as possible, because if you qualify for any additional aid, and that's going to be your Pell Grant, work study, or anything like that, need-based aid, we want to make sure that you get it. As Jaden said, as simple as it sounds, Google is a great resource. Niagara offers a ton of scholarships. I was sifting through them today with a colleague looking for a specific one we offer. We might not offer a specific one towards computer engineering, but somewhere else in your high school, anything community-based in your area. As corny as it sounds, check your job. Taco Bell, McDonald's, if you're a local student, Wegmans, Tops, Delta Sonic, check your job and see if they offer scholarship. If you're involved in the church, Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts offer great scholarships. Your parents' work, reach out to all of those people. There's a ton of money out there. And as I think Kelsey said, or one of the students said, as long as you qualify for it, for the ones outside of Niagara University, if you kind of qualify for it or almost qualify for it, please apply to it. To apply to us, you've probably written your essay. You've probably sent us a letter of reference or two. That's what they're asking for on your scholarships too. So you already have most of the legwork done. Maybe it's just adjusting your essay to fit that scholarship that you're applying to. Anything that is a grant or a scholarship is free money. Like I said, it's free money that you don't have to pay back, and your family will love you for it. Whether it's $200, that's going to cover your books for a semester. If it's $2,000, even better. We have a ton of stuff coming through on our end. You should be, if you have filed your FAFSA, you should get your financial aid package from us by the end of the month, and all of your counselors will be calling you following up. Since we are talking about money, it's usually a touchy subject. And this also goes for my current students too. You see an issue with your financial aid package, please let us know. If we're falling short and we're at the top of your list, please let us know. We want to file an appeal on your side, saying, hey, Sarah was on, she was fantastic, I absolutely loved meeting with her, asked great questions, they were on this event, so on and so forth. We can help vouch and advocate for you on our end, asking for extra money. Don't tell all your friends, but anybody that had filed an appeal last year got additional money. It's a super quick, easy, simpler process. And your counselor can help you with that. Like I said, we're going to be doing follow-up calls over the next month, all the way until May. But yeah, so that's my spiel on money, because nobody likes to talk about it, but I don't mind anymore. Been in this game for a bit. What other questions do you have about STEM? Yeah, Sarah, you have your hand up.
So I've been already accepted into the chemistry program. I was wondering if Bree and Andrew could touch on how the chemistry program and how the like science programs in general helped with the interest in forensic science, because that's what I want to do. So
Bree,
Hi. Yeah, I'll start, and I'm sure Andrew will have tons to add. I actually knew I wanted to do forensic science when I came to college, as it seems like you do. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do like the bio side of things or the chemistry side of things. I went with chemistry, obviously. I absolutely love it. We do have a forensic science minor here at Niagara, so I encourage you to check that out. You can look at online. You can really just Google like Niagara University forensic science minor, and you can look at the classes that are offered for the minor. I actually got my internship through our actual forensic science class. So that's why one of the things I love about Niagara that everyone's touched on is the small class sizes. So you really get to know your professors, and the professors who do teach at the school either worked in the field previously, or they teach part-time and work their job related to their field during the day. In the case of Professor DeFonso, who was the professor for the forensic science class, he worked in a forensics lab in Niagara County during the day and taught a class once a week on Monday nights about forensic science. He specifically specialized in the areas of arson and drug chemistry. So that was pretty cool. It was my kind of area. I really was interested in drug chemistry specifically. So he was kind enough to actually do an internship for me, because this is something, I guess my advice to you as someone who's interested in forensic science is look at the school and the connections they have, because a lot of places won't take you for an internship unless your school has these connections. So the fact that Niagara had the minor made it a lot easier for me to find this internship. So definitely keep that in mind, like when you're looking at schools. So anyways, he did this internship for me because I met him in this class. I was talking to him about it and I was looking for an internship and he was like, hey, why don't you do one with me? So I actually got to do a semester-long internship. I did it for credit. I got 3 credits for it. And I got to see the areas of arson. So basically that is they take samples from any like liquids found at the scene and you can kind of identify if they're an accelerant or not using GCMS, which is gas chromatography basically. Mass spectrometry, gas chromatography, mass spectrometry, GCMS, which is one of the really cool instruments we get to use, and you'll use it throughout your labs and your years here as well. And the same thing for drug chemistry, uses the same instrument. They take unknown samples seized from whether it's a car, a crime scene, anything like that. Basically, the police just take it in. They say unknown drug substance or whatever, and it's our job to identify it basically, which is really cool. And I'm not allowed to touch the samples, but because I had experience like running the instruments, I got to actually like run the analysis on it. So he put, you know, the samples in, I ran it, which was a really cool experience. And I actually got to see ballistics a little bit. So ballistics is basically where you've probably seen on any crime show, they look at bullets and look at the striations on it. Does it match this type of gun? Does it match this or that? So that was a really cool thing I got to see as well. And the girl who actually did ballistics there was a graduate of Niagara, was a chemistry major as well. So I recommend doing an internship like that because you get to see all the different areas of forensics. And even as a chemistry major, I could totally still do something on the biology side, like toxicology, when you get like urine samples and stuff like that, they look for like drugs in it or anything like that. And I'm totally familiar from my 4 years here with the instruments they use for that. Blood samples, anything like that, I could totally do that kind of analysis. So I think whether you go with biochemistry, whatever you decide to go with, biochemistry for that matter, like you're covered with the experience you get through your labs, through research. You learn how to use such a wide variety of internships, but instruments, that you're prepared for whatever. So I've actually started applying for jobs as a senior. So I recently applied for a biology side of forensics with DNA and that kind of stuff because I've just had that much experience through labs, that kind of thing, that I feel comfortable still applying for that job. So I say if you're interested in forensics, this might be a good place for you because Niagara is very much about developing well-rounded students. So you gain a lot of experience through your labs and stuff that you're not just focused on chemistry. Even as a chemistry major, you're still learning about other types of instruments that apply to other sides of it. And I know Andrew's talked a little bit about like analytical with Dr. Gosher. Her lab focuses on a lot of, though it's not like a forensics lab, she focuses on a lot of the techniques used in a forensics lab, like you talked about in instrumental and analytical. So there's a lot of professors who have a lot of experience with like the quality control analytical side of things that you could totally pick their brain for information and experience and totally join their lab if you want to practice those skills. So I think there's a lot of opportunities available for you as far as forensics here. Well, Andrew looks like he's ready to add some stuff.
Yeah. Literally, I could just echo everything that she said. That was one of the biggest draws for me to NU when I was looking. I knew I wanted to do something with forensics. And with the forensics minor, I know I've like looked at it specifically too. You're going to have that forensics chemistry class. I know is a big part of it, but a lot of like computer science and like stuff like with the programming information with the instruments you're going to be using too. I know that factors into it as well. So I'm super excited to get that started. I technically haven't declared a forensic science minor yet. But you don't even you don't necessarily need to declare the minor for it. You could just take some of those classes as a part of your free electives. So you just have that experience like under your belt. And when it comes like Bree said, when it comes to like analytical, you're just going to be taking a ton of classes that like just incorporate everything into it. And like that's the beauty of like having not necessarily the forensics major or something like that, but having a STEM background is you could go into like anywhere with it. And that was like the biggest draw for me. I used to be like super like honed in and focused. I'm like, yo, I'm going to do a forensic science major. This is going to be great. And like, I'm going to know all of this. And I was like, well, wait a minute. You know, what if, for instance, like something doesn't work out? Like I have a whole chemistry degree, like I'll have a chemistry degree behind me and like in my arsenal where I can like take that out and go into like any other lab I might need to. I'm also like, I'm actually still on the fence right now, but I know this isn't necessarily to you, pertain to you, but with like, I'm thinking about going into education as well. And I know like there's a lot of like transitions in between the both of those, like where I could go and get my master's in education after already having a 4-year degree with like something that has like no education whatsoever. And I know I can get in like an accelerated program because I did all this undergrad work with gen eds. But it really just comes down to like all the STEM opportunities you do have here. I know Dr. Gosher has a forensics spectroscopy research or something. It's like a lot with like ink pigmentation, anything like that. So if you're like interested in that, like definitely pick her brain. She is a great resource too. She's very, very, very thorough. And like if you just like talk to her about like anything and everything, like you're just gonna get like all this information that you're gonna like be a little bit overwhelmed with it at first. You're like holy crap, like this is just a lot to deal with. But like it's been like that was my favorite part about like especially last semester. As much as like everything was weird being virtual, we did have like labs in person, and being one-on-one with her, being able to pick her brain about how she like does everything with quality control and like making sure your experiments are great. I obviously don't have a lot of like experience with like research necessarily and specifically in forensics, but I know it's like an opportunity. It's at my hands. I can like right at my fingertips, I can go out and grab it.
Yeah, the last thing I want to add is like you may feel the pressure to maybe like feel like you should go to a forensics program, but from my experience, basically they want to hire, like from my experience applying to jobs, they want to hire someone that has majored in chemistry, biochemistry, or biology. They don't want forensic majors. If that's your idea, your definite ideal job path, go get a master's in forensic science, but get your undergrad in like a natural science, whether it's chemistry, biochemistry, biology. Do that. Like that's what they're looking for because they know you have those analytical skills that we've been talking about. They know you have the lab experience. You're going to graduate with 4 years of lab experience, regardless of an internship or not. That's going to look amazing on application. So if that's the field you're interested in, to anyone here today who like maybe you're thinking of doing that, like go for chemistry, biology, biochemistry, whatever it may be, go for one of those. Don't worry about necessarily majoring in forensic science because employers are looking for you to have that actual natural science background, not just a forensics major, because they know the experience and the skills that come with those majors, and that's what they really want in an applicant someday.
I did see that, Elena, you did ask about supporting STEM students switching majors mid-year. And honestly, like everybody at Niagara, no matter your major, wants to help you succeed. So even if you do switch your major like midway and you don't really know where you are, we do have our what's called our AEP program, so our Academic Exploration Program, which is an amazing program that you will still graduate on time even if you don't know what you want to do. Even if you switch midway, they're there every step of the way. You'll have that advisor and you'll have an AEP advisor as well to guide you through each semester with what classes you should take and stuff like that too. Right now, like I'm debating whether or not I would like to pursue chemistry education or not, and maybe do a double major. I'm kind of thinking about it, and my advisor is really somebody that I look to because Dr. Gosher is my advisor and she knows what I wanted beginning of freshman year. And now at the end near my sophomore year, it's kind of changed. So we can go based on our plan and we can kind of go through it being organized and stuff and making sure I'm in the right pathway for that. Another place too that really helps like STEM majors is just all the professors in STEM in general. I bet I could go to a biology professor and ask for help and they would still help me even if I didn't have them as a professor. You can literally go to any professor, especially in the STEM fields, and they would help you no matter what. So honestly, you have constant support at NU, even if you don't want it, because it's just constant. And it's not even just from your professor specifically that semester. It could be a professor from a gen ed you took a year ago. They would still be there supporting you and figuring out what you want to do too.
And then I'd like to add that we also do have completely free tutoring services, which I would suggest you utilize, especially as a STEM major. With classes you might, have some trouble with. For me personally, chemistry, getting a tutor was great. We actually got sort of ahead of the class, so I was always kind of ready for what was going to happen, and class was similar to like a refresher because I already kind of knew how to do everything. I would suggest tutoring, and even if you do end up switching your major, you can just utilize those tutoring services, and they can help you get back on track if you join a class and you feel a little lost. Maybe you weren't there the entire time. That's a great service that I definitely can't recommend enough, and would probably help if you're thinking that you might be, trying out a few classes, feeling them out, and you might not know the material perfectly.
I'll kind of go off some of the questions I see in the chat here about why NU and in terms of double majors and stuff like that. So first of all, for the double majors, here at NU, you've heard a lot of gen eds, which is just classes everybody takes. So I'm a computer science major. There is about 15 or so computer courses, which in the grand scheme of things is not much. It may sound like a lot, but it's really not. So in terms of a double major, it's actually not as hard as some people think, because the gen eds, you only take the gen eds once. But when you start doing dual majors, that's when you have classes that are only required in that major, which, like I said, is only 10, 15 classes. So especially if you got a lot of credits under your belt, you have some room, you might have room for almost 10 classes, and maybe you have a minor that overlaps with a major, and all of a sudden you only need 6 more classes before you have an entire another major. So I think having 2 majors is significantly more doable than people think. I did consider a criminal justice major as well to go with my computer science, but instead I went with just a criminal justice minor along with a computer forensics minor, which is awesome. So there's so much customability with that. It's really whatever you want. And in terms of why NU is great, I'm sure all of the students here could vouch for why, but I think a huge one is we are literally on the border of Canada. You will be in some of our classes. I'll be in Vinny's, which is our main building that you'll find a lot of your gen eds in. That and Dunleavy, of course. But when you're in Vinny, you can, if you're on the right side of it, you can literally look out the window, see the gorge, see Canada. I mean, if you ask 100 people, I bet you none of them went to a college that's on the border of another country, which is so darn cool. And it's going to be something that you take home with you, and it'd be a once in a lifetime experience. And back to everybody saying about how, awesome the professors and the staff are. We're small, it's like a family. Anybody will help you, even if they're literally in a different department from you. If you're a computer science major, you go to a math professor and they probably do anything for you because they truly want to see you succeed. You're not a number. That's what's awesome about being a small university. You're not student number 3,456. You're very, very important to other students, professors, deans. It's so easy to get a hold of them. And I would say between that, the views you get on campus, I mean, you really can't ask for much more to looking out the window and seeing Canada. But that's probably why I chose NU along with a bunch of other things, like I said, about small classes. And it's really just an awesome place to be. And you're very welcome there. And you will find that you will make friends, even if you don't think you are. And it's just overall a great place to be. And if you ask anybody, they'll tell you the same thing, how they've made friends for life.
I'm going to do a shameless plug. Thanks, Alex. I like you, Alex. I'm going to keep you around for a bit. Shameless plug. If you are an accepted student and have not joined the Facebook page, please do so. I know some of my other folks who are older still are on their Facebook page that we start for their entry class. Please join my Facebook page. I run contests and events, and I get to choose the winners. Also, in terms of double major, if you're bringing any transfer credits, whether those are dual enrollment through your high school, AP credits, IB credits, or anything like that. Most of we give very, very good transfer credits because I mainly work with transfers. So please send us any transfer credits that you have, any APs as of right now, 3, 4, or 5, anything that you've gotten at a college dual credit, or you're in college getting an associate's before you come to us, because some of you guys are very eager like that. Anything A, B, or C, send to us as well.
Just to
yeah, go for it, Alex.
kind of go off transfer credits. I went to Sweet High School right around here, and there's actually NU classes and AP classes there, which are college classes in high school, obviously. But I took so many there that I'm actually graduating a year early from NU. So seriously, if you guys have transfer credits, like, use them. It's going to save you possibly a ton of money, time. I'm 20 years old, and I'll have a bachelor's degree in 3 months. It's crazy. And if you can save a year, even a semester or a few classes, like, please do it. Transfer credits are a lifesaver.
Plus, having those transfer credits too, then you can add on that double major. Then you can add on 1 or 2 minors too. So it just frees up everything. Like, I went to Sweet Home as well with Alex, and I got tons and tons of credits, and I'm a semester ahead. So technically I'm a junior, which is like really cool. And that gives me the ability to join clubs, like get into our community and volunteer and do research and all of the things that NU wants its students to do, be on campus and be involved and just learn and grow and stuff like that.
I just wanted to add on to, the double major stuff and YNU, sort of like Alex before. So especially when you're thinking about a double major, you're going to be working with your advisor all the time. I really would highly recommend talk to your advisor, get to know them. Don't be afraid to communicate with them, especially because Niagara is such a small school. I mentioned on my tours, you don't have to get through 5,000 other students to get to your advisor. They're not going to have as many students as maybe a huge school would. So they have time to get to you. We don't have TAs, so you don't have to go through them to get to your professors. So, when you're thinking of that double major, I would just send an email, make a meeting, and you can talk with them about what fits into your schedule. You'll learn about the degree audit, which just is sort of a mapped out thing of all of the courses that you need to take in order to obtain your degree in whatever major you want. And so as you go through your courses, they'll cross out, they'll say completed, everything that you need to complete will say incomplete, that sort of thing. So you'll look at that together and decide if it would be a good idea for you to do it. They might look at your past grades and other things, and they might give you their opinion on whether or not it would be a good idea for you. But if that's something that you really want to do, I do recommend it. It is a really good thing if you can handle it. And especially just YNU, I think the biggest thing for me was the community. Before I came to NU and I did my visit, I was committed to another school that was way bigger. Yeah, I was committed to another school before I came to NU for my tour. Niagara was actually the last school on my list. They were my last tour. I had gone to every other school. I kind of just went because I felt bad to cancel the tour and I wanted to go to Niagara Falls. But then at the end of my tour, I just felt so at home, so much more at home than the school that I chose, which, by the way, was in England, which is really crazy because I was there and I'm like, this feels like home to me. Like, this is weird that the place that I chose doesn't even feel like home, but this does. And I haven't even been here before. Everybody's just so close, but I like to also emphasize that it's not like high school. It's not cliquey. It's not weird or anything. It's not going to be, you're going to meet new people all the time. But it is nice to have some of the same faces, and especially just being able to reach out to your professors, friends. I think especially the research opportunities and internship opportunities are insane. I cannot believe how easy it is to get into research sometimes. All I did to get into research was I went to my psychology professor and I was like, hi, I know you don't really know me yet because I was a freshman, But do you have anything that I can work with you with? And he was like, yeah. That's where we started. So it's really easy to get into that, especially like being STEM. So don't be afraid to reach out. I think Niagara is just really great with how close we all are, and how much we do for our students.
I guess I also chime in on really why I chose Niagara. I honestly, my story is one of my favorites to tell. Yeah, little props to Emily a lot for recruiting me out of Ohio. But my mom went to Niagara, and when I was first looking at schools, I wanted absolutely nothing to do with it. My mom was like, "Oh, you should really look at Niagara. I think it'll be a great fit for you." I'm like, "Mom, I don't want to go to your dumb school. Like, this is really stupid." And then I ended up going out of the country for a mission trip. So I didn't have my phone. I didn't have like any access to internet or anything. And I come back and I'm like checking my emails and it says, "We look forward to seeing you at Niagara University." And my mom had gone and like signed me up because I was already like looking at Mercyhurst, looking up at Syracuse and Lemoyne, and kind of my mom's like, "Oh, it's just on the way. It'll be perfect." And I'm like, "Fine, like I'll go look at it. I'm not going to like it, but like I'll appease you." And literally like I fell in love with campus the minute I stepped on it. Our admissions team does it all. That's why I joined the admissions team. That's why I wanted to be a tour guide. We literally came in and they were just so accommodating for everything. Niagara was one of the last schools I looked at. So like we kind of knew what we wanted to do about everything. And like I wanted to sit down with a professor in the STEM field, and like someone who, so like I sat down with Dr. McCourt, and she literally just like talked about everything that goes on like in the STEM program, everything that happens with our natural sciences. She talked about the lab experience, the research opportunities, the different scholarships you could get. And that was the biggest thing for me. It felt like family. They answered any questions I might have had. They were extremely thorough, and I mean, they still are. That's why I've joined. That's why I want to help. That's why I'm here like tonight, just to answer you guys' questions. And ultimately, and I got a great financial deal with all those scholarships you can find, like we said about before tonight. And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but literally just all these things are what makes Niagara so great and why I still love coming here every year.
Well, I'm sold. Just kidding. And hopefully I'll have Andrew's sister and his 3 other siblings after. Well, that's my goal at least. If Molly doesn't come, I'm gonna be really sad, Andrew, and I'm blaming you. What other questions do you have for any of these students or anything admission-wise? I like that you guys are laughing at my jokes. This makes me happy. What other questions do you guys have for any of our students? And then any of our students who feel comfortable, if you could please drop your name, email, contact info that you want to share with any of our prospective students, so they can hit you up. Is that the lingo still? Contact you, call you, beep you if you want to reach you. That's Kim Possible. That's from back in my day. If you guys will put that in the chat box, then you guys can take pictures of it. And I'm not trying to end this, but I just want to make sure you guys can get that contact info before I forget about it. And then Aaron and I will drop our info as well. And then if you come and visit campus, we are open for visitors. So if you have not visited campus, please feel free to come up and visit. We are open for visits every day that the university is open. If you are coming from a non-contingency state, so if you are not from New York and you are coming from Pennsylvania, Vermont, Maine, New Jersey, and Connecticut, you do not need to do any testing or anything like that. So if you're not coming from one of those contingency states or New York, you do have to show a negative COVID test to come onto campus and stuff like that. We try to make it easy peasy, but these are new protocols by New York State. Unfortunately, it's not by Niagara. But if you are available tomorrow night and you're from out of state, you can join myself, Hope, and Andrew at an out-of-state event that we're gonna have with a bunch more people. Another great panel of events going on. What other questions do you have for all of our students? I do want to do a poll of my current students. Can you please raise your hand if you have a minor or 2? Or plan on declaring a minor? Okay, so most of them, that's what I thought. So just shows how easy it is to have a minor, especially if you're bringing in those credits or if you're even double majoring. Any other questions? You guys are asking great questions for these students. Yeah, go for it. Type it in the chat and mute yourself.
So, I was wondering if I know a lot of schools, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure Niagara has like this sort of similar policy too, where if a student like either goes in undecided or picks a major, but isn't really like, it doesn't really sit comfortable with them, like, how does that work at Niagara specifically? Like, is there a difference between like a student who picks like a STEM major and a student who picks a non-STEM major, switching majors mid-year? Like,
I understand what you're saying. If you are completely undecided, you have no clue what you want to do, if you're stuck between chemistry and biology, like they were talking at the beginning, your courses are pretty similar because you're taking quite a few gen eds that are very similar. If you're stuck between biology and communications, I highly recommend starting in our academic exploration program. I think Jana was talking about earlier. You sit down with a staff member, they test your competency, skills, interests, and stuff like that, and put you in a major that best fits that. Prime example, I'm one of them. I did a very similar test when I went to college many moons ago, and it said that I should be in education. I said, I'm going to be a nurse. I'm not good at science, so props to all of my people on, except for Erin, because she can probably attest. I'm not good at science at all, so if I would have listened to that test, I wouldn't have taken an extra lap, as I say in college. So AAP really helps you find out what you're interested in and stuff like that. But if you're interested in one of these STEM fields, especially the hard sciences, biology, chemistry, biochemistry, you're more than welcome to start in there and then definitely talk to your advisor and stuff like that. If you're stuck between English and biology, please start AAP. You'll start both of those courses to see which ones you like and what you don't like and stuff like that. That's my biggest recommendation. Like they said, AAP is our top major. About 20% of our freshmen start in, so it's our #1 major across the board too. Any other questions? Erin?
I can finish off maybe with why I chose Niagara. So I was once a student, only about 3 years ago. So I came back to the office because I love Niagara so much and I love working with students. But the reason I first came to look at Niagara was actually because of the study abroad programs. And then once I came to campus, it was actually that nobody told me no. I could do whatever I wanted. If I wanted to create a a community service trip to Puerto Rico, they helped me get there. I didn't pay a penny, and we did a week's worth of volunteer work in Puerto Rico. I wanted to join the track team. Nobody told me no. I had double major graduating, could have graduated early with the double major, and I came in with very few credits. So trying to get a double major isn't that hard, even if you don't come in with extra credits. So all of the faculty and staff at Niagara really help you, push you, get you where you want to be, whether that's internships, jobs, research, studying abroad, volunteer work, whatever you want to do, they'll be there to back you up and support you. And those are the people that I go back to now that I worked with all those years ago, and they're still just as close as like my family. So Niagara really has been that family that kind of helped me create who I am today. So that's probably why I chose Niagara and why I'll choose it every day. Try to get all my cousins and all my sisters to come here. But I just love the opportunities that you had. You weren't limited to what a big school has like UB or Syracuse. It's pretty much limitless.
If Erin's telling her story, I'm telling mine. So in April will be, it's crazy, 5 years for me. So it's like I've already graduated once. I've had people ask me to apply to other jobs and I said, absolutely not. And it's because of all of the people on the screen that you see. Our students are spectacular. They're fantastic. They're inspiring. They're great. I've known some of them for the past 4 years, which is kind of fun. To watch them grow up and mature and find themselves. As I tell my freshmen, you have 4 years. It all depends on what you want to make of it. Whether you're leaving home, whether you're coming from down the road, you have 4 years to decide how you want to write each one of those chapters. And that's your chapter to write. So if you've never been involved in rugby and you're like, hey, Hope, can you tell me more about rugby? Because Hope, if you see her in person, she's very petite. She's a nice little
Cute, Paul. Thanks.
You could fit her in your hoodie pocket, if I'm being honest. And she plays rugby. And this isn't something like she probably did from back home. So there's just opportunity for you, and it's all up to you to make that opportunity and write that chapter too. Our students are great. I absolutely adore them, and I'm so ready for them to come back to campus, because campus is a ghost town without them. So I'm ready for them to be back and start making some noise. Not a lot of noise. Not a lot of noise. Not during quiet hours when Kelsey's on duty, that's for sure.
If Bree's on, maybe a different story, but if I'm on,
she runs a very tight ship over there.
Just kidding. I'm very flexible.
That's a nice word.
Kelsey's my CA. She is phenomenal.
Tell us
She's
all
my
the
neighbor,
dirt.
even. My neighbor. I'm probably the quietest neighbor on the floor, though.
The best neighbor I have ever had.
I'm going to talk to your childhood neighbor. You don't have to lie for her, Margaret. It's okay. I know her deep, dark secrets.
I would never.
And these are the relationships that you end up forming. Please know your admissions counselor is always there for you, even afterwards. I'm still working with Andrew. Yeah, I have a feeling I'm going to be stuck with him for another 2 years.
You sound so excited.
I love Andrew. I love the whole family, actually. Yeah, Elena, go for it, girl.
Wait, how do you know Andrew's entire family?
So when Andrew came to visit, his whole family, if you guys want to hear a story, I'm going to keep recording. His whole family came and they all wore matching shorts. All of the guys in the family had patterned shorts, and then his mom and his sister had plain solid colored shorts. And I'll never forget it. I know his little brother Aiden's the cutest. I got a few years before him, but I know the whole family were pretty tight.
Yeah, we're working on Molly now.
Side. You guys all think I'm joking. I'm really not.
She's not.
Brian, I said hi.
Yeah, I will.
But yeah.
Oh, but like my real question, that was just like off-topic question. But like, is there a special way where like roommates are decided, or is it like alphabetical order? Because like I forget which university, but they said that they like used taste in music to make their roommates. That was very interesting.
Kelsey, take it away.
Great question from us in Res Life who handle roommate situations. Great question. So there's essentially 3 main ways to get a roommate. So the first is going to be someone you already know. So that's someone from high school, someone from dance class, someone from an extracurricular activity, someone your mom's friend's daughter knows that's also going to Niagara, and you both request each other. The second way is you meet someone at some orientation or on our Facebook page or another activity related to Niagara, and you talk to them, you get to know them, and you say, hey, we want to be roommates. Fun fact, Bree and I were roommates freshman year. And then when you do both of those ways, you still have to fill out this third piece, which is this questionnaire. And it's essentially like, some people call it speed dating, like a match.com for roommates, something along those lines. So that's where maybe that music taste would come in. And you essentially go over all of your habits. So are you someone who, like me, goes to bed at 9 o'clock? Are you a chemistry major who anecdotally maybe stays up later to study? Well, we probably won't put you with a cross-country athlete who wakes up at 5 a.m. for morning practice. So those are the things that go into that questionnaire. But the cool part about NU is that those get hand matched in residence life. So our director and her team sits down and they look at all of these different things and they pair you up with a roommate they think will fit well. So even if you say, well, my mom's daughter's going and we think we'd be great roommates, we might look at that profile and say, here are the things that we think might not be great. If you want to keep going with it, that's totally fine. If not, we can find you someone we think might fit better. And that's up to you. And then once the school starts, we're going to do a roommate contract. So you're going to go through a nice little workshop with our friends from Residence Life, and we're going to talk about things like conflict resolution, how to start the conversation before something becomes a problem. And you're going to fill out this long contract, long, maybe 15 questions with your roommate. And it's everything from, do we want to keep the window open at night? Do we want to leave the TV on? So that you can really talk about those things that you may not have realized were your own habits after a week of living together. And then no one has to be the one to start the conversation. We force you to do it so we can be the bad guys instead. And then come November or January or March, you can revisit that. Or if something does come up, we can go back and say, this is what we agreed on. If all of that doesn't work, then we can, of course, find you another situation if you don't feel comfortable, if it's really not working and you guys have tried really hard to make it work. Bree might have other things to add because she's also a CA.
No, Kelsey covered it all. It's just communication is the biggest thing, no matter what route you go with. Like, you're gonna have issues. Like, in case you guys couldn't tell, Kelsey and I are very different people in a lot of ways, but you make it work. Like, you talk it out. I was up late doing homework. She was in bed at 9 o'clock, and you make it work without annoying your roommate. So the biggest thing is just to communicate, because I know as a CA, that's like a big thing. As I knew a lot of people on my floor last year. Jaden was a chemistry major, and like same thing, she she had a ton of homework, and like that might not be you, or even if you have a ton of homework.
Bree literally helped me with all of my lab reports. I got my first F and I broke down and I went to her, and she really did like help me so much. Your CAs are incredible people all the way around. And I wouldn't like, honestly, I still go to Bree sometimes and I'm like, yo, I have no clue what this means. Like, please help. I've talked to her about my classes and stuff. And obviously, like, I see her on tours too. So it's just like a great kind of thing. And she also helped me with like any roommate problems I had, and or like my friends on the floor too. So they're just great connections.
Yeah, like Jaden said, don't stress about how you find your roommate who ends up being your roommate. Communicate and use your resources. As CAs, we're a great resource for you. Come talk to us about anything. We never judge. We're here to help. So yeah, that's like my biggest advice is just take the chance, go for a random roommate. If you don't know anyone, don't stress about it. It'll work out in the end.
Yeah. And one more thing to add, I think there is this idea when you go into college that you have to be best friends with your roommate. Like, you have to do absolutely everything together. It's not true. You don't. And you can be nice friends who sometimes get dinner together at the dining hall on the weekends, maybe go to a late night activity, and live in perfect harmony and peace with your own separate friend groups. So it's really what the relationship is for you. It doesn't have to be the same as the person down the hall, and you don't have to be best of friends who spend 24 hours together, because it's good to have those separate groups and then say, oh, it's Saturday night. Do you want to go catch the hockey game? Something along those lines.
But also know that if that's what you're looking for, you can definitely find it. Luckily, I kind of hit it off with my roommate. I actually posted on the Facebook page that Emily was talking about, and we were both looking for roommates, and I reached out, and it was a match made in heaven. She's my other half. She's so great, and she's going to be in my life for the rest of my life. I'm a lifelong friend, but I know that some people weren't as fortunate on my floors. And I have definitely noticed that, people who aren't necessarily getting along with their roommate, or if they maybe just want, a different type of relationship, they usually reach out to other people who are also kind of leaving their roommate, and they live together, and they usually hit it off as well. But, if you're looking for a best friend roommate relationship, that's definitely something you can find. The people at Niagara are super willing to kind of like welcome you, and we're all just trying to have fun together, all try to live in harmony. I don't usually find that there's much drama, so.
I know Kelsey mentioned dating. It's like you're like dating someone. As soon as you hop into our Facebook page, it's gonna look like a dating website. There's pictures. It's gonna say, hi, my name's Andrew. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I have X amount of siblings. I really enjoy watching true crime documentaries on Netflix. It's literally a dating website. Erin hasn't fully engulfed it yet because she's new. But listen, if you're looking for a match, that Facebook page, it's going to tell you if you're really going to match with someone or not, whether you're into anime, into a certain sport, into service work. You guys just spill it all and we just let you, and it's kind of fun to get to know you guys in that fashion. Like somebody posted someone wearing Bills jerseys and stuff like that. So of course I had to comment, go Bills. Yeah, who's excited for the Bills this weekend? But yeah, so definitely great opportunities within housing, whether that's choosing your own roommate or getting paired up to. But they make sure they fit you with someone who's going to be like you or have similar interests too. Any other questions? Yes, bring it on.
So can you join the Facebook page even though you haven't like fully committed yet?
Yes, you can join as long as you've been accepted to the university.
I have, it's pending.
All right, I'll get on it, Sarah. Oh, my phone's blowing up.
I also have a question with like what kind of relationships have you guys like gotten through your years at college, and what do you think makes NU so special with those connections?
I'm going to send this one to Andrew first. Will you talk about your relationship with Howard Morgan, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a part of this Vincentian Scholars Program here on campus, which is actually a really cool program. It's a scholarship program, so you get some free money, but you have to do some volunteer service every semester, and then you also meet with your advisor and do a lot of reading. Really, our big focus is on racial injustice and systemic racism within our community, and a lot of our service has to do with that. But you, in the Vincentian Scholars Program, you get set up with a mentor. So I got set up with Howard Morgan, and he works in admissions just below Emily, and he is honestly really great. I meet with him usually every 2 weeks, every week. It kind of just depends on like what's going on. And really, we just sit down and talk about like how school's going. Like, is there anything you need help with? Like this semester, it really came in handy. I was going through like a really like rough patch with one of my friends I had made, and like things weren't really going well. And so like I talked to him about it, and like he gave me a lot of good advice on stuff like that. And you really just, those kinds of opportunities literally pop up everywhere at Niagara, whether it is your professors, admissions, like just regular like staff members you might find on campus. It just comes out of nowhere and you don't really expect it. And like I know I can go to like Howard about anything. And it's really like helpful to just have him as a resource on campus. He went to Niagara too, so he kind of knows what's going on. And he has a lot of those connections that he can meet other people. He actually just got ordained as a deacon this year, and it was really cool because he invited me to his little ordination dinner kind of thing. And I got to meet like a lot of different Niagara alum, and like make a lot of different connections through that. And like it was really cool seeing all those people there too. So like at another school, you might not necessarily have such like a profound connection with one person that leads you to like even more connections with other people. And like, well, yeah, it might not seem like a big deal that you just exchanged like information with this person, or like you talked about why you liked Niagara to an alum. It like makes a huge difference if like maybe like 2-3 years down the road you're looking for a job and like, oh, what do you know, like this alum has this connection here and somehow. And I think while that's not been like the overall goal of this mentorship program that I have with Howard, it's been like one of those like side effects or like perks or like something like that.
I'd like to kind of add on too. So I'm kind of biased with my mom working there and being a professor there. So I basically grown up at NU. But honestly, even with my mom being there, every single person I've met at NU is just amazing in any sort of way. Like I love working in admissions. I love everybody in admissions, and I really do. All my all my teammates, all my coworkers, like even my classmates too, have like being in the STEM field and everything. Everybody is so supportive. Some of my friends, a lot of my girlfriends actually aren't STEM majors. A lot of them are education, and they still support me, and I still support them, no matter if we aren't like the same major even. And I love them to death. I think that they're going to be in my life forever, and I'm just so lucky to have that. And again, like the professors' relationships too, like being able to communicate both like adults. I feel like it's very equal with professors. I feel like they don't kind of look over you or kind of like look down on you, like that you're like lower than them. They kind of look to you as an equal and like want to figure it out together rather than just them telling you what to do and you following them. It's more of like a back-to-back conversation, and I feel like that prepares you for the real world, and it prepares you to talk to and communicate with people. And I think it's just, I love every single relationship that I have with every single person at NU.
So I remember in like earlier in the meeting, someone was talking about how, I think it was Bree. Like, are you the forensic science person? Okay, cool. And how like because Niagara University like has a bunch of connections, like it's super easy for like someone like you to have like a job like right out of college. Is there something similar to a computer science major? Like, are you able to have like easy connections like that?
Absolutely. I'm sure Alex or Margaret can also touch on this. So I can touch on the part that I know of as a forensic science minor. I have taken several computer classes, especially in computer forensics. And again, a lot of these people are my professor. Specifically, I had Professor Papp. He's currently getting his PhD. So he's working on all that right now in the field that we are learning about. So they all have experience in it, whether it's so he maybe would be more of a resource for me if I was applying to graduate programs for forensic science. I'm sure he has a lot of connections when it comes to that. And he was kind of a cool resource for me to talk to too, because he didn't start as a computer science undergrad. I think he was criminal justice, I believe. So that was kind of a cool thing for me to talk about, because I came into his class taking these computer science, computer forensic classes as a chemistry major. I knew nothing about computers. So it was kind of cool to talk about that. You know, you don't have to start that way. If anything, my skills that I've learned through a different major would only help me. So they're just a cool resource to talk to, even if you're lost, confused, get help. But yeah, and as far as connections, I'm sure Jaden can touch on it, her mom, they've all worked in the field. But I will let anyone else in the computer science, but it's the same thing for all professors I've learned. They've either had PhDs in the field you're interested in, they've worked in the field you're interested in. So just talk to them, get to know them, pick their brains about things. That's why they have office hours. I know my professor for my computer forensics class has like, email me when you start applying for colleges. I'll be a letter of recommendation. I'll give you whatever advice you need. So keep those connections, get to know your professors. That's my biggest advice, but I'll let a couple of the other computer science majors touch on that a little more.
Something I'd like to throw out there is Professor Wagner, Jaden's mom. She would consistently, like this past semester, send out emails of things on campus that were available to computer science majors, like things with, I think it was the women's basketball team that was looking for help, and they wanted computer science majors to work on stuff like that, and internships through like M&T, like Blue Cross Blue Shield stuff around the area, depending on where you are, like local and stuff like that. But the professors do give you opportunities, and they want you to find things like this. Like her and Dr. Tong recommended me to help with this. So all professors are like looking to help you like get forward with what you're looking to do for the rest of your time in college, for the rest of your time after college. Like she said, everybody seriously just wants to help you. And there is lots of stuff for computer science majors.
Just to sort of piggyback off of that, at least computer science, everybody at NU is required to take management 160, but computer science majors, I'm not too sure about everybody else, but at least computer science majors are required to take management 390, which is in that class you're required to do practice interview, resume critique, things like that. So that almost forces you into, you know, getting an internship. For example, Mike Skronsky, if anybody knows him, a lot of people might not. Awesome guy, just gonna throw that out there. But besides the point, he gave M&T a call for me on my behalf. So I'm sure so many people will also do that for you at NU. And in terms of computer science, like it's a very needed field. You won't struggle to find a job, an internship, anything like that. Right now with COVID, obviously it's a little bit different, but computer science is so needed. And I'm sure Margaret can attest that, like, you're asked a million questions by a million of your friends and a million of your family members about how do you do this to computer X, Y, and Z, and you help people, and it's a rewarding feeling. And even I'm a forensics guy at heart, to be honest with you. I like crime, so my criminal justice minor came from there. My computer forensics minor came from there, but I love computers, so that's why I'm going into cybersecurity. But it's a lot of fun, and a lot of these professors as well will help make your dream come true as much as they possibly can. Dr. Wagner, Professor Pep, they're all, Dr. Tong, they will respond to you fast. They will do just about anything for you. And for those people here that are, thinking about coming to NU or are coming to NU as a CIS major, you're not going to believe how close you become to your professors. And I think if you reflect on it, even a semester, you'll be like, wow, they're basically my friend now. And so I hope you guys feel the same way I did. I'm sure you will. And even if you're not a very social person, give it a semester.
My mom is always on the computer, even at home.
That is true. She responds pretty quick.
Everything.
She is a computer science teacher.
In the middle of dinner, and she'll go and answer like students. I'll come down and I'll be like, "Mom, you want to help me with something?" And she's like, "No, I'm answering a student." And I'm like, "All right, great, thanks."
That's what all professors are. Not that Dr. Wagner is a special professor, but that's what they all are. They respond to you. You wouldn't believe some of the hours that you might get an email. I've gotten emails from Professor Pap at 3 a.m. Like, it's unbelievable the extent these professors go for you. And I've never gone to another school, but I can't imagine professors, at 3 o'clock in the morning, let me respond to Alex Farkas. Like, they truly enjoy what they're doing. They have experience, and they will make you feel comfortable if you're not comfortable. And seriously, don't be afraid to ask them questions that, even if they're, dumb, but they'll help you, and they're not afraid to help you, and they genuinely care about you as a person. And that's why a small university like NU is, in my opinion, the way to go.
I'm going to echo a little bit what Alex said, and also Kelsey said back about alumni and mixing that in with career services. We have a fantastic career service office. That's where Mike Skronsky that he's talking about, you will not miss him. He's probably one of the sharper dressed men on campus. Yes, Kelsey, I'll let you talk about the pathways. But please start going to our career service office your first semester. Say hi. My name's Emily. I'm in this program. I just want to start putting together my resume, start making references, whatever the case may be. But they have a whole program set in place. If you're looking for a job in fraud in some form or fashion, we probably have an alumni that's working in that, and that all depends on where you're looking to work. Are you looking to work in Nebraska? Do you want to go work in Nevada? Do you want to work in Texas? Do you want to work in North Tonawanda? It all depends on where you want to work. We literally have Purple Eagles everywhere. Bye, Jaden. So please utilize our alumni. They're fantastic. They're a great resource too. And we know a ton of them, and they're literally sprinkled everywhere. Sarah?
So I was looking on the website a couple days ago, and I may have asked this when I went on my tour yesterday, but I don't remember.
How'd you like campus? Was it chilly?
It was a little cold. It's upstate New York. It is what it is.
Come on.
Alex, I have to ask, where are you? Are you on a porch on a beach somewhere?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm in Jupiter, Florida right now.
You're on Jupiter? Wow.
Jupiter, Florida, yeah. It's about 75. It's hot.
All right. Bye, Alex. It was great seeing you. Good invite. We could have had a whole reunion there.
It's probably like, it is 29 degrees here in Fairport.
Oh, Fairport.
Buffalo and Niagara Falls, I don't want to hear any complaints about the weather. The snow is beautiful. Come on.
It is. I really want a big snowstorm.
About the weather, but back to my question.
Yes, sorry, Sarah. Back to you. Enough about Alex.
So, I was reading about the forensic science minor, and it looked to be much more of a computer forensics. But going into like forensic chemistry, did you find that helpful with the computer side of things while also wanting to go into the science, like the more science-based?
I'm sorry, my connection was really poor. What did you say?
With the computer side with the minor, is that still helpful with a like forensic chemistry sort of side of things?
I can
So you're
answer this
going.
one if you want.
Yeah, no, feel free to answer because I have
Okay.
nothing to do with chemistry.
No, you're good. So, the answer is like directly no. The skills you learn in this class will not those classes directly transfer to, say, like you're not going to be hacking anyone's computer like you would in your computer forensics class, that kind of thing. However, like I took a computer hardware class and it taught me the basics of how to take apart a computer, the different programs, how they work, that kind of thing. And a lot of what I've looked at in job descriptions when I have been applying to different labs is that they actually expect you to kind of help with the maintenance of these computers and instruments they use. So it kind of gave me, and a lot of like, actually the NMR that we use at school involves programming, actually. It's like a little bit of coding in it. So do you need to know coding to use the NMR? Absolutely not, but it helps me understand it a little more. So I think while the skills you learn aren't directly transferable, I think it just helped me understand a little more. I feel more comfortable if I ever had to maintenance an instrument, say, or, you know, help with the programming of, say, the NMR instrument or something like that. I now understand the commands I'm typing in to use the NMR from these classes. So while the skills aren't directly transferable, I think it's a great background to have. And maybe, for all you know, maybe you'll love computer forensics. Maybe you won't, but I think it was kind of a really fun and interesting class as well, just to take. And so, yes, like I sorry, that's not probably a great answer, but I think the background information I learned about computers and how they work and computer programming and all of that I learned, it's very basic level, but it just helped me to understand what I'm doing when I use these instruments. And if I ever would have to maintenance one in a lab per se, I now kind of have some basic skills to do it. Obviously, you'll have a manual, that kind of thing that the lab has on hand, but I have a little bit more of an understanding than I did before I took these classes, if that helps you at all.
Sorry, I was searching for the unmute button. Does that answer your question, Sarah? Because all of that went like straight over my head in my ponytail. The only MMR I know is the vaccine that I had to have as a child.
Yeah, thank you. That did help.
Any other questions? Seeing a lot of silent blank stares at my face. You guys, oh, sorry, Alex, you're lighting up. Do you have something to say down there in Jupiter?
I was just gonna say, even if any of you guys who even do come to NU and you still have any questions, feel free to shoot an email. I would love to help you guys in any questions you guys might have. It could not be computer related, it could be computer related. I'm always there for you guys. I would never want someone to feel uncomfortable on our campus, neither to anybody else. NU's like home for all of us, I can guarantee you, and I'm sure we'll be free too, but of course we all have, you know, our issues that then, so I know that I like someone there for me. So if any of you guys need anything, I drop my email, I'll respond very quick.
Well, Alex, you took the words right out of my mouth. Please scroll up, take a picture of our information. Please reach out to any of us. Apparently Alex wants all of your emails. And if Alex can't answer it, Alex, feel free to forward it to me, my dear. Feel free to reach out to us if you guys have any questions. If you can visit campus like Sarah did, please come up and visit campus. I know we're having too many open houses, I want to say, in March. We have some on-campus stuff coming up. There's Saturday appointments, daily visits. Students come back to campus on Monday. Monday's the earliest day, right? The 24th. Kelsey's already back.
Yes.
The 28th is classes, Alex, but students can start moving in.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am not.
You're in Jupiter. It's okay. You're like out of this world.
I fly home tomorrow. It's okay.
Alex, we're going to hang out when you get back after you're done quarantining.
Absolutely.
But please come up, visit campus. I would love to have another event with all of you guys because you laughed at my jokes and I really appreciate that. Any other questions? Last minute questions, comments, concerns? Ballistics is my favorite. I do love true crimes. Night Stalker, if you haven't watched it on Netflix, really good one. Anybody watch it yet? No? Binged it yesterday, so it's worth it. Really good. Highly recommend. Well, if you guys don't have anything else, feel free, reach out to us. We are here for you. If you have any questions, reach out to your counselor, reach out to myself, Erin, anyone, and then we will see you hopefully all on campus soon. And then say hi in the Facebook page if you join. Sarah, please introduce yourself. Say you were on our awesome, amazing event. And then we'll be in contact with you guys soon. Have a good night.